In our first story, pressure mounting on government to immediately release funds for beneficiaries of the Livelihood Empowerment Against Poverty LEAP. Now, LEAP is one of Ghana's flagship social protection program that provides bi-monthly cash payments to extremely poor households in all districts of the country. Currently, 343,000 households benefit from the cash grants per the 2022 budget statement. But an impact analysis by civil society organizations consisting of Social Accountability Forum, Civil Society Platform for Social Protection, and the Civil Society on SDG 10 has revealed there have been unexplained delays in release of funds to beneficiaries by the government. Mohammed Abdullah is the communications officer for Send Ghana.
Somewhere 2019 up till now, we have noticed that the payments have been delaying. There are times that it delays for like more than 2 months, and already they are supposed to be receiving this support every 2 months, that is bi-monthly. And so it means that when a particular payment cycle delays, it means that the beneficiaries end up getting their support in like 4 months. And what is the amount involved? We are talking about just a 64 Ghana cedi for a beneficiary, a household that has just one beneficiary, a household. So we are saying that you and now agree that in the face of this economic hardship, somebody who relies on only 64 Ghana cedis every 2 months has not received such amount for like 4 months. You can reason with us. How is the person faring? What are they feeding on? How are they able to meet their education and the health needs of the occupants of their household? So those are the kind of things that we think that these are people, they don't have the voice. If they had the voice, I'm sure you and I wouldn't have been here, because they would remind government to fulfill its obligation towards them. Today, you are aware that university teachers are on strike. Transport unions, student bodies, all going on strike because they have the voice to speak. Vulnerable groups that I talked about, none of them has the voice. So it is you and I who can actually remind the government of its obligation towards these poor people, so that at least pay them. If there are practical challenges why you are not releasing funding for their payment, it is okay to communicate to the people. Just let them understand this is the current situation. We all know we are not in normal times, but we need to strive to still do things in a normal way. So for the last payment cycle, which is the 75th, it was supposed to have been done in November last year. That had not been transferred. Now we are talking about the 76th cycle that was also due in January. It has not been paid. The 77th cycle will also come, will be due somewhere in April or March, April. Yet government has not paid those 2 areas for the beneficiaries. Like I'm asking, how are we expecting them to fare in the face of this COVID? So 2 payment tranches, 2 cycles, which is a 75th and 76th. Are you talking about the amount involved? No, we are not in the position to, like my colleague said, it is the government that transfers the amount, but we can do the individual kind of beneficiary package. For example, if it is just one person, the person receives like 64 cedis every 2 months. If it is 2, I think it's 77 Ghana cedis. 3 is 88, and then 3 or more, like 4 or more, is 106 Ghana cedis. That is for every 2 months. Of course, we have over 34,000. I think. No, I'm coming. We have about 344,000 households. So when we're talking about household, you can have a household that has more than one beneficiary. So the 334,000 households actually translate into about over 1.5 million individual beneficiaries.
That's Mohammed Abdullah, who's the communications officer for Send Ghana. But joining us for this conversation via Zoom is Abaron Jalil Odum, and he is the director for Civil Society Platform for Social Protection. Good morning, sir, and thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, good morning very much, and thank you to your listeners.
All right, now from your checks, what's causing the delay?
Obviously, government does not, have the funds to release. And I guess the challenge right now is not because government only do not have the funds, but also because there's not so much communication around the subject matter.
And now, obviously, people are being affected by this. So what has been the impact of the delay on households that rely on LEAP?
Absolutely. There is a lot of pressure, on many households who pretty much depends on this funds to live, to have a life. When you look at, a household that does not, feed 3 square meals a day, or cannot even have one meal a day, and they are depending on, this particular, income to, be able to eat, then that's quite challenging. It's very frustrating and very, worrying situation.
It's a worrying situation indeed. But like, what's the communication? Like, what's happening? Is there any information that's coming to you? How long will this take? When will these people get the money?
So I think that the challenge right now is that we do not know when this funds is going to be released.
Yeah.
And our check, so far does not indicate when we will, the beneficiaries are going to have these funds. And so the difficulty is we don't know when to expect. And if you look at all the conversations going around the country, it looks like government does not have funds to do some particular things, and social intervention becomes, one of the last things, which is very worrying because in terms of, protection and promotion of human rights, one of the very important things is to protect, the rights of these poor citizens, and I think it's a very difficult situation.
Now, how do you feel about the fact that government is not like prioritizing the less fortunate and the vulnerable? And we all know that the economy is in a very bad shape, but how do you feel about this matter?
It's a big dilemma, I would say, because government does not have the funds to do this, and yet government needs to, promote and protect the rights, of its citizens. And so I think we need to find the fine balance that is trying to make sure, at least, even if government should default, it should not default for too long, because that will be quite difficult for these citizens, And let me say that we have always thought that this social intervention should always be predictable for, the beneficiaries, and every now and then it is delaying, and so I think we really need to do something about it, because even if you look at social intervention, which is a very critical thing for government, and government is not looking at it, then what about all the other things that government should actually, dedicate, resources to? So we have a very worrying situation in the country.
And you keep on saying it's a worrying situation. You keep on saying that government doesn't have the funds. Is it that government doesn't actually have the funds, or it's a matter of priorities?
There is also the issue of priority, and so government, needs to pay, its workers. Government needs to support, people who are poor. Government needs to build roads. Government needs to, support, other, infrastructure projects. Obviously, priority-wise, government may not see this, as a big deal. But and if you look at the conversation that goes on and on, it feels like it's more of a charity type of, intervention that government is doing, rather than looking at it as a human rights thing. So priority-wise, government is looking this thing as charity, and so they will not prioritize it.
All right, now moving forward, what are your plans to push this thing forward? Like, what are we doing in the future?
The future is that first we want to make sure that the social protection itself is enshrined in law. So it's more of a rights-based approach we are looking at. I think it's more compelling for government to support, LEAP when it is much more enshrined in law. And so we are looking at this opportunity that government will adopt, the current bill that, is still on the table and has not moved to parliament yet.
Yeah.
And we also are looking at a situation where, government will come through and make sure that they do something about the delays.
Yeah.
We are still pushing very hard. There's a lot of advocacy from different quarters. We also believe that if communication is going out there, this is our situation. We are not in normal times, and people understand that this is the situation, even though it's still not acceptable. I think if government is to do some, some few adjustments to make sure that at least even one of the payments, is made, then we will make progress. Otherwise, I think this will be a very long battle.
All right. Thank you very much for your time. That is Abaron Jalil Odum, who's the director of Civil Society Platform for Social Protection. And he's just been giving us some info on, because we know that pressure is mounting government to immediately release funds for beneficiaries of LEAP. Let's do other stories now, because President Akufo-Addo has given the strongest indication that the Comenda Sugar Factory will start operations in April this year. According to him, civil works being undertaken by the Indian investors will be completed by end of March, paving way for the production of sugar to begin. The operationalization of the factory was perhaps one of the major political issues in the central region in the 2016 and 2020 elections. The Comenda Sugar Factory continues to remain a big albatross on the neck of government.
Growing here, all those things were not properly organized. I think our organization, our organization, and also the between strategic investor, and also it to me about Robert Bisomu. Nanche, over TBB Papa Freemanum, and check.
But when are you starting work? We are waiting for the final agreements to happen. After that, we'll start working.
Still, some civil works are being done there. Nyampa, by the end of March, it will be completed. By April, production will have begun.
Now, let's bring you statements made by the president about the Comenda Sugar Factory. Let's go to myjoyonline.com. And Comenda Sugar Factory to be operationalized by March 2022. So that's what he's saying. And this was 18 October 2021. And now the president is saying the factory will begin operations in April this year. So a month. And let's go to Richard Kojanyako, who joins us via Zoom for more on this conversation. Richard, thank you so much for your time. Richard Kojanyako.
Hello.
All right, now let's dive deep into this Comenda Sugar Factory issue. I mean, the president has been saying that he will, factory will be in operations April, May, March. So tell us more about that.
Well, so I have been to the Comenda Sugar Factory. Yeah. Yes, indeed. There are some civil works that are being done. They started some time ago, and their concentration is on the refinery, and they want to get it done by April. Now, the people of Comenda are excited. Now, a lot of people are looking for jobs there. They want the people to engage them as they engaged them previously. And so that is the extent of the happiness of the people. But currently, the concern is that there is no nucleus farm that has been established. There is no plantation that is currently underway. They are not growing any sugarcane plantation. We understand that a land has been acquired, and so they would do that. So the likelihood that in April, they will get some sugarcane from the plantation of the Comenda Sugar Factory is very, very limited. So they would have to rely on the plantations of the farmers that they relied on where about 5-6 years ago when the factory was kicked in motion. And so that is the concern. Another major concern that has also been brought up is the fact that there is no strategic partner yet, and it is the government of Ghana that is engaged some contractors, and so these contractors are mostly Indians, and so they are doing the civil engineering works that are currently there. So the search for a strategic partner, according to the sources that are there, there is nothing like that. But the contract has been given, and it is the West African Agrotech Limited, and so they are currently the people that are engaged in. So they have not had any name such as a strategic investor that is pumping money into the Commander Sugar Factory, but they are quite sure that with the current works that are ongoing now, maybe in April, they would see, the factory will see some kind of works, or they will kickstart the operations of the factory. So these are the things that I have picked on the ground.
And you spoke about some civil works. So far, what civil works have been done?
Well, so their concentration is on the refinery. The fact that when they are done with the works on the refinery and then they get some sugarcane, they will be able to start the operations of the sugar factory, and then they will be able to produce sugar. So that is currently the civil works that are being done around the refinery. I'm also told that when they are done with the refinery, they will also extend it to the other part of the factory so that they will take care of other needs or other demands of the factory that the entire factory would be doing. So currently it is about the refinery, and they want to beat the time, the April deadline that the president has given. And so that is currently what's happening.
And the people on the ground, are they assured of what the president has been saying?
Well, so they speak of that. They speak of the fact that they want to see that the Commander Sugar Factory actually starts working. And so they are confident that by April, something will be done. There will be a brief ceremony to reopen the Commander Sugar Factory. And that is what excites the people of Commander, that at long last, if there has been an announcement by the president, and they have also seen that there are some Indians and some people that are currently at the factory site working, then they feel that, in fact, there will be life at the Commander, actually.
All right, thank you very much. That's my colleague, Richard Kojinyako, and he's been giving us an update on what's happening at the Commander Sugar Factory. To other news now, Speaker of Parliament Alban Bagbin has denied media reports that he granted Ajasafo permission on health grounds. He says he's received a number of calls from the media and has never said it anyway that he granted that Domi Kwabena MP permission.
Important, I diffuse some fake news which is being circulated that I granted an interview to say that Honorable Ajasafo received permission from me to absent herself from Parliament on health grounds. I want it to be known by all that I have not granted any such interview anywhere. I have not said anything like that anywhere. And the votes and proceedings of the House are so loud that she is absent without permission for all those days. That is on the votes and proceedings of the House. It's not the Speaker who determines who is present and who is absent. No. The votes and proceedings will capture those are present, those are absent, and those who are absent with permission. And so please, I received a lot of calls from a number of media men on that issue. And that's why I don't want to delay in letting the world know that I have not said any such thing anywhere. Please. And tomorrow I'm going to address the issue of absentee MPs very, very clearly for everybody to understand.
Psychiatric facilities across the country are struggling to procure patient medications. Now, this is because the Mental Health Authority receives an average of just 30% of its annual budget from government, forcing it to introduce a pay-as-you-go model of operation. The authority believes the provision of a dedicated source of revenue will help reduce the burden on the psychiatric facilities and persons who require mental health care services. We'll hear from CEO of the Mental Health Authority shortly. First, though, excerpts of our latest hotline documentary highlighting quality rights in mental health care. Mind Matters.
Behind the rising mental health cases in the region is a sheer insufficiency of staff within the various health facilities to attend to patients who are brought in. This reality gravely affects the quality of health care given to the patients. Sylvester Basinia admits the seriousness of the challenge but says, though insufficient, efforts are underway to improve the number of mental health practitioners in the region.
Mental health practice is one thing that if people are not motivated enough to step into the field, it will be difficult for you to go handpicking people or encouraging people to actually go into the field. And so, but thankfully, people are turning out. We have Kintampo College of Health, where practicing officers like community health nurses, health technicians, and other cadre of health staff go to advance in that regard. So as we speak, we have some of our staff here who are actually running those programs there. And I'm sure after that, they'll come back for postings. So gradually, the numbers are actually increasing. And so we don't have absolute control over the staffing, but once people are showing interest, I know gradually we'll be able to cover almost all the sub-districts with mental health staff representation. But I must admit that the key challenge that we are actually facing has to do with our medication. There are moments we get some support from the central medical stores, but that is short-lived. Maybe within the year, we actually run short of these drugs, and we cannot actually guarantee a reliable source of these medicines. Basic Needs and NGO into mental health used to also support us in that regard. But on the advent of COVID, we've not had such supports from Basic Needs anymore. And so we are now relying on central medical stores for support in that regard.
We can now hear from CEO of the Mental Health Authority, Dr. Akwesi Osei, who is pushing for the passage of a mental health levy to provide reliable funding for the activities of the authority.
The mental health levy is very crucial because, as you said, there is no way. And when you say that the government is not giving enough money, it's not to say government is not giving anything at all. In fact, the 30 to 40% that you said, other aspects of health care, they are probably getting some 18 to 20%. So we get more because ours is ring fence. But that more is just inadequate. The others are not crying because they generate funds, they generate income, and we don't generate. So government will need to give them money. And there is, even if, in fact, this year, even if the ministry decided to give us all the money that government gave them, it will still not be adequate. So it's not so much the ministry not giving us, but our needs are so many that what the ministry can give is not adequate. And that is why we need the levy. So the levy to us is mandatory. Agreed. Government, we are Ghanaians, we are all crying levy, levy, levy here and there. But I'm sure that this levy is so crucial that no Ghanaian will say, don't establish mental health levy. For us to be able to attend to persons with mental illness. I'm sure as you drive every day in Accra, in the cities, in the villages, you see persons with mental illness roaming about and you are not happy. They could have been taken to the hospitals for treatment if you had the money. So we need the levy to take care of this. The levy, mental health levy, is very crucial.
Earlier, you watched excerpts of our latest hotline documentary, Mind Matters. The full documentary airs on Monday, February 28, 2022 on all JoyNews platforms. Now, Ghana Blind Union petitions government over inclusive education reforms and through the Education Ministry that visually impaired students should be included in the various education reforms in the country. They argue if visually impaired students are equipped with digital services, the country's quest to enhance its educational development will be more holistic and inclusive. Executive Director of the union, Dr. Peter Obeng Asamoah, presented the petition at the launch of Accessible Blind Book campaign in Accra on Thursday. There's more in this report.
Goal 4 of the Sustainable Development Goals aspires to provide all people with access to education and encourage lifelong learning opportunities in the quest to eliminate educational gaps. But Ghana is yet to achieve this, especially for persons with disability. In this regard, the Ghana Blind Union is requesting for all visually impaired students in the country to be given equal learning opportunities.
And all learners with disability, and we are calling upon the ministry to listen to it and pay rapt attention, give rapt attention to it, and please, please, please act on it. The Ghana Blind Union wishes to ask the Minister of Education to use your good offices to ensure the provision of audio devices to learners with vision impairment. These audio devices include those that we've just seen demonstrated. We've seen the Victor Reader or Victor Stream. We've seen the use of the tablets. We've seen the use of laptops with screen reader devices. We've seen the use of electronic braille. And there are other forms of assistive technologies. We are calling upon the Ministry of Education to ensure that these devices are provided to our learners in the school so that they will be able to access the reading materials that their sighted counterparts have and take for granted. We are talking about equal opportunities here. We are talking about leveling the playing field. We are talking about allowing blind and visually impaired learners to contribute to their own development and the development of this nation.
Deputy Education Minister John Intim-Fojo, in his response to the petition, assured the union that the ministry would explore opportunities in ensuring that their request is granted.
So I would want to start by saying that we'll receive, on behalf of the ministry and on behalf of Dr. Yao Seduchum, your petition, a very solid petition in good faith, and by kind courtesy of Ramatu Salifu and my two brothers, I've had the opportunity to hear the petition 3 times. and so for emphasis purposes, I am very versed with the content of the petition, and I do associate with every paragraph and every word contained in the petition. I will convey same to the Honorable Minister, and I know that he can't wait to address the matters you have raised, and I can assure you, and most honestly and sincerely convey this assurance to you that this petition will receive the attention that it deserves. As a ministry, as a government, we are very poised to ensure that adequate investment is channeled into these softwares, into these devices, and to ensure that we scale up the opportunity. We'll definitely also explore partnerships with development partners who are very interested in our inclusive education policy to also seek their support.
A visually impaired student, Gift Nkrumah, shared some of the difficulties she's been facing as a student. According to her, she sometimes has to lend out money to her mates to be able to get them to read notes for her.
I'm at the mainstream with our sighted colleagues, and because we don't have access to the print textbooks, we have to beg them to read notes for us. Or when it's time for exercise, they have to read it for us before we write it in Braille. Sometimes, because we cannot read the print, if we call our sighted friends to read for us, they will not mind us until we pay them. Or we buy something for them before they come and read the notes for us.
A member of the Ghana Blind Union, Regina Ezilevu, also urged examination bodies, particularly WAEC, to explore technological means to conduct examination for the visually impaired.
As a blind person, I think that there are alternative means of writing. Some need large font size so that they can read and then write in large font. So that should be allowed. And then those who can, some also can use the computers to write the exam. So those who are computer literate should be allowed to use the computer to write. And then we have some people who cannot use the braille nor the computer. They have problems with their fingers as well. So such persons should be given the alternative of recording their answers, so that after they record their answers, the audio would then be transcribed into text by experts, so that WAEC can mark and then they get the exams.
Gifty, like other visually impaired students, believe if she is properly assisted with the needed devices, she can make better strides. Mausi Numon's reports for JoyNews.
You're still watching JoyNews Desk with me, Mapito Sibidi. We'll be back right after this. Thank you so much for staying with us. Now, residents of Mango in the Nyaswani district engaged in the construction of a small earth dam under the Ghana Productive Safety Net project, threatening to lay down their tools over unpaid arrears. The workers, who are mostly women and teenage girls, say they haven't been paid their daily allowances for 4 months. They also complained about poor working environment, including inadequate tools to work with. They have threatened to abandon the project if the arrears are not paid by the end of this month. The workers spoke to JoyNews at the project sites in the community, where the Member of Parliament paid a working visit.
Agnes Bonbon is a 30-year-old resident of Mongo, a village in the remote Nyaswani district of the Northeast region. She's unemployed and a mother of 2 and has been working as a laborer in the construction of this small earth dam since it began in 2019. The young mother was more than excited when she first joined this labor-intensive public work, as she tells me she used the earnings to support her poor husband. Today, Agnes, like many of the workers here, are aggrieved over their unpaid allowance and are planning to abandon the project. She says the situation adversely affects the living conditions of her family.
What she said is, when they started the work, it was really moving. But it got to a point, the payment is not well. At first, they said they'll be paying them monthly, but they have worked over 4 years now, and they have not received the pay. And due to that, many of the workers doesn't like coming, because when they come, they'll come and dirty their clothes. But what to use and buy soap and wash is a problem. They don't have it. And they used to give them medicine. Now they don't give them the medicine. They will come and work and become tired. They will go back. They are tired. They are stressful. They can't do anything. And the next day they can't get up and come. They are sick. And that one too is a challenge. And at first they used to have cups, drinking cups. Now they don't have it. When they come, they are blocking leaves to fetch water and drink.
Dubik Mavis is an 18-year-old student of the Nakpanduri Senior High School. She comes home every weekend to labor here with her mother for a daily allowance of 12 Ghana cedis. She says they have not been paid these allowance for almost 5 months now.
Our challenges is about the payments. It's getting to 4 months. They have not yet paid us. So because of that, many of them are not coming to the work. If we can, we not reach to 50 or 70 going. By the time we started, we were about 100 going. But now, because of the payment, they are not coming. And now to the medicine, they are not giving us again. By the first time we started, every day they were bringing the medicine. If your body are paining you, you can take some. Or if you went home and you come to work tomorrow, you can collect some and take before you start your work. But now they are not giving us. So that one is a problem for us.
The workers, who are mostly women and teenagers, said many have already abandoned the project, and they too are planning to do the same unless the allowance are paid soon.
Now, they are tired, they are sick, they don't have money to buy sandals, they don't have money to buy soaps and food, so it's a challenge for them.
If we are you are doing work and you are not getting something, how will we continue to work? So because of that, some have started stopping coming to the work. So I think so.
The construction of the small air dam here at Mongo under the labor-intensive public works component is being implemented through the Ghana Productive Safety Net project with funding from the World Bank, which aims to support the government to strengthen safety net systems that improve the productivity of the poor. The dam, when completed, is expected to help the community members engage in all year-round farming to improve their living conditions, which the project, which started with over 200 community members, now has less than 20 workers. It was expected to be completed by 2021, but a visit to the site shows it is still far from completion. The Member of Parliament of the area, Oscar Lewa, who paid a working visit to the project site, responded to the concerns.
The complaints that they are raising now, I will make a follow-up. I will contact the contractor to make sure that they pay them regularly to be able to finish the work within the stipulated time. One cannot abandon his household chores only to be frustrated by somebody. I will not sit aloof for them to fall sick. I will not sit aloof for them to be cheated. I will do what it takes to get their concerns addressed.
Abdul Latif, a local supervisor of the project, also assured the workers that the arrears will be cleared soon.
Because I've worked with this Ghana Safety Net for a long time, since 2015 up to now. So I know them. The payment will delay, but no matter how the situation, the payment will come. I'm sure in them.
Reporting for Joy News, Ilyasu Tanko, Mongo, Junyo District.
You're still watching Joy News Desk. I bring you business right after this. And in business, the Ghana Export Promotion Authority, GEPA, is building the capacity of women in agribusiness and textiles in the Ashanti region to help increase their export and trade potentials. The 5-day training, supported by the Canadian Trade Facilitation Office, is also aimed at creating more job opportunities for women. There's more in this report.
The training program is part of GEPA's efforts to groom exporters for easy access to external markets and ultimately shore up exports. Deputy CEO in charge of Human Resource and Administration at GEPA, Albert Kasim Diwura, observed international trade comes with lots of demands, hence the training.
This is very important to us because the women in trade are doing very well in terms of numbers, that is the volumes, but then we've realized that intermittently they don't have time to do research because of their multi-task nature. They don't have time to do research, so we often organize programs like this. We also have our export school where sometimes twice or thrice in a year we organize for people to come and train. So in between that, we collaborate with either ITC or TFO to organize programs like this just to build their capacity to be able to take advantage of the export space.
SMEs have been urged to register under the Ghana Export Promotion Authority to access support to enter the international market.
One key problem we've identified is that some of them don't even know that they have to even register with Ghana Export Promotion Authority. I think that just like we sell in our Ghanaian market, they can produce the same way and take it into the international market. So some of them attempt and they have real challenges. But when they register with us, we will give them the requisite knowledge.
A representative from the Trade Facilitations Office, Canada, encouraged women to collaborate and take advantage of export markets. Andrew Mensah believes this will help businesses to meet demand.
Japan International Cooperation Agency, JICA, has indicated its commitment to improving accessibility to stable and affordable power in Africa by the way of investment. JICA, for close to 6 years, has invested millions of dollars in some African countries, particularly in the West African sub-region, due to the economic importance of electricity. Chief Representative, JICA Ghana Office, Araki Yasmichi, disclosed this at a 5-day training program held in collaboration with Electricity Company of Ghana, ECG, in Tema. Correspondent Kwame Yanka has more in this report.
5-day training program on technique and procedures for maintenance of power equipment and system protection and control is considered crucial after cancellation of such courses over outbreak of Ebola in 2015. The training forms part of a bigger plan by Japan International Cooperation Agency, JICA, in ensuring access to reliable power. The agency, through grants, implemented a $38 million project to improve power supply to Accra Central and $58 million for improvement of power distribution system, completed in 2018 and 2015 respectively. Chief Representative, JICA Ghana Office, Araki Yasumichi, shares investment made in other countries in the sub-region.
In Sierra Leone, $39.3 million project for urgent improvement of a power distribution system in Freetown, completed in 2017, was implemented through our grant-raise scheme for preparation study for extension of a power distribution system along the Freetown Peninsula, and the technical cooperation project for capacity development for advanced diesel generator maintenance are in the preparation stage to start this year. In Liberia, the $20 million granted project for rehabilitation of a Monrovia power system completed in 2016, and technical cooperation project for capacity development for diesel generator maintenance, which is currently ongoing.
Deputy Managing Director, Sales and Customer Service of ECG, Engineer Jones Ufrado, says the training course is part of Electrical Engineers Training for African Countries EETA project funded by JICA.
And this is aimed at improving the competencies and operational efficiencies. The project, which was dubbed Project Electrical Engineering Training for African Countries, EETA, was initiated in 2013 in collaboration with the Electricity Company of Ghana's Training Center. This training course forms part of the EETA project and is mainly funded by JICA. We have so far jointly conducted similar training in the past and have received material and logistic support from JICA for the successful implementation of such projects.
That's it for business. Up next is Tech Talk. It's time for Tech Talk with Sparky Kobe Kruma, and we are going straight to the strip club.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
That was very sharp.
We're going to the strip club.
Yes, which is a very bad thing for kids under age.
Okay.
And the metaverse, as we have come to anticipate, is going to be taking us from the real world into the virtual world. And it seems like something that's supposed to be exciting for everyone. But some researchers have found out that children are being exposed to stuff like strip clubs, like you said. Now, that's very worrying. That's very dangerous because a lot of the times technology advances faster than parents.
Yeah.
And parents always have to be playing catch up.
Yeah.
These kids, because they have exposure to these devices and these technologies, know exactly where to go around these things. And kids are finding themselves in strip clubs and being exposed to sexual content and even people soliciting sexual, activities from these children, and it's becoming very worrying.
So are there no age restrictions on this, or people bypass them? Or,
so you know on the internet, if you're going to a certain website that is not required, basically you have to be of a certain age restriction, it's here notice. If you're not 18, you can't come in, But hey, who could tell that I'm 18
I'm 18 or not,
I mean, I'm just with my device coming in. I can say I'm 18, you can't prove it. I can lie about my age, you can't prove it.
Yeah.
The only limitation that can be put in place would be if parents put these restrictions on these devices to prevent these children from being able to make it to those, platforms. And strip clubs.
All right. Okay, so that's metaverse. And now we're fighting malaria.
Yes.
How are we fighting malaria?
With drones.
Okay,
Which
tell
is
me
a good
about
thing
it.
because drones have been used for a lot of things like agriculture, like sending medicine in Ghana.
Yeah.
But in Zanzibar, they are piloting, pun intended, using drones to battle malaria by mapping the area to see where there are puddles of water, because you know malaria is caused by the Anopheles mosquitoes, which breed in still waters, and the eggs before they hatch are discovered with drones. Once they know where these puddles of water are, they can attack them, kill the mosquitoes before they even become the larvae, before they become mosquitoes, before they come and bite us in the night and at dusk and give us malaria.
I trust that our digital vice president will look into that so that we can,
that'd be so cool.
we can tackle malaria, Mr. Digital Vice President. And we're going to Ukraine now. What's happening there in the world of tech?
There's a whole lot of things happening in Ukraine, and they're not left out when it comes to tech attacks as well.
Okay.
Banking and military websites in Ukraine are being attacked on a large scale, like super large scale. And when we say large scale, a distributed denial of service attack. What this is when multiple visits. Imagine if you had 50 million people coming to your door at once, trying to come into your house.
Obviously, I wouldn't be able to contain all of them.
You can't even open the door, close it, you can't control anything. The whole place will shut down. That's what's happening. That's how these websites are being attacked. They're sending lots of requests to websites, and there's also reports that there's a new malware called the Wiper.
The Wiper.
Also being sent to Ukraine to attack them. So
So it's being sent to Ukraine as in like what? You said the banks?
Banks and military, websites are being taken down. But luckily those two are recovering because they were seemingly prepared for such attacks. So there's always redundancies in place, load balancers, that anytime you get these kinds of attacks, you can offload them somewhere and then restore your services as quickly. But it doesn't mean that they have basically gotten rid of the issue. It's still happening, and it's sort of a worry.
Okay. All right, thank you very much. A lot is happening in the world of tech. Strip clubs, we're fighting malaria, and also Ukraine. All right, thank you very much for that. We're going to take a quick breather. Up next is my favorite person with sports. It's time for my favorite segment on the show. Muftah joins me. Muftah, what's happening in the world of sports?
So many things are happening because of the Russia-Ukrainian war. UEFA has decided to move the UEFA Champions League final, which was initially scheduled for Zenit St. Petersburg. They've now moved it to Paris. That's a conversation that have happened. And also, there have been many calls from the sporting world demanding that everyone should stand with Ukraine because they feel that the invasion by Russians is bringing everything to a halt. And yesterday we heard from former heavyweight champion Vladimir Klitschko, who spoke about the war. He clearly said that this war have got no winner. He said it's a senseless war. People should not be participating in that war. And now we are even made to understand that some of the Russian companies that are sponsoring football clubs across Europe, most of these clubs are pulling out. They don't want to be partners with someone, especially Gazprom. And also Chelsea owner, Roman Abramovich, he's come under severe flack. Currently, we are made to understand that he's likely not to have access to the UK anymore. Claims are that he's someone who is one of the key figures in the governance of Russia, and they've decided that they want him out of Britain. There are others. There was a vote even recently demanding that he should give up the ownership of Chelsea Football Club, but that vote was shut down. But the only thing that cannot happen is that he cannot have access to UK anymore. He has a house that's worth £125 million that is based in the UK, but as it stands now, it's likely to be sold. But for his club Chelsea, the conversations are that, or the voting that transpired earlier was that he can continue to own the club. All right. And I understand that in May we might be going to Europe because you have been nominated for the AIPS Sports Media Awards. So you can go to my Joy online for that. Congratulations on your nomination, Muftah. So we have it here. Joy Sports Muftah Nabila Abdullah shortlisted for the
IPS Awards 2021, and we are going to Europe in May. I'm going with you. Thank you very much. You can't leave me here. You can't
we'll go together.
Yes, we'll go together.
We'll go together.
All right. And that's how we end Joy News Desk. For more news, you can log on to myjoyonline.com. My name is Mapito CBD. I'll see you at 12 o'clock for Joy News today.